The Atlas Mountains is a mountain range across the northwestern stretch of Africa extending about 2,500 km through Algeria, Morocco and Tunisia. The highest peak is Toubkal, with an elevation of 4,165 meters in southwestern Morocco. The Atlas ranges separate the Mediterranean and Atlantic coastlines from the Sahara Desert. The population of the Atlas Mountains is mainly Berbers. The terms for mountain in some Berber languages are adrar and adras, believed to be cognate with the toponym. The mountains have been home to a number of plant and animal species unique in Africa, often more like those of Europe. Many of them are endangered and some have already gone extinct. Examples include the Barbary Macaque, the Atlas bear, the Barbary Leopard, the Barbary stag, Barbary Sheep, the Barbary Lion, the Atlas mountain badger, the North African elephant, the African Aurochs, Cuvier's gazelle, the Northern Bald Ibis, dippers, the Atlas mountain viper, the Atlas cedar, the European black pine, and the Algerian oak. Geology. The basement rock of most of Africa was formed in the Precambrian and is much older than the Atlas Mountains lying in Africa. The Atlas formed during 3 subsequent phases of Earth's history. The first tectonic deformation phase involves only the anti-Atlas, which was formed in the Paleozoic era as the result of continental collisions. North America, Europe and Africa were connected millions of years ago. The anti-Atlas mountains are believed to have originally been formed as part of Alleghenian orogeny. These mountains were formed when Africa and America collided, and were once a chain rivaling today's Himalayas. Today, the remains of this chain can be seen in the Fall Line region in the eastern United States. Some remnants can also be found in the later formed Appalachians in North America. A second phase took place during the Mesozoic era and consisted of a widespread extension of the Earth's crust that rifted and separated the continents mentioned above. This extension was responsible for the formation of many thick intracontinental sedimentary basins including the present Atlas. Most of the rocks forming the surface of the present High Atlas were deposited under the ocean at that time. Finally, in the Paleogene and Neogen periods, the mountain chains that today comprise the Atlas were uplifted as the land masses of Europe and Africa collided at the southern end of the Iberian Peninsula. Such convergent tectonic boundaries occur where 2 plates slide towards each other forming a subduction zone and/or a continental collision. In the case of the Africa-Europe collision, it is clear that tectonic convergence is partially responsible for the formation of the High Atlas, as well as for the closure of the Strait of Gibraltar and the formation of the Alps and the Pyrenees. However, there is a lack of evidence for the nature of the subduction in the Atlas region, or for the thickening of the Earth's crust generally associated with continental collisions. In fact, one of the most striking features of the Atlas to geologists is the relative small amount of crustal thickening and tectonic shortening despite the important altitude of the mountain range. Recent studies suggest that deep processes rooted in the Earth's mantle may have contributed to the uplift of the High and Middle Atlas. Natural resources. The Atlas are rich in natural resources. There are deposits of iron ore, lead ore, copper, silver, mercury, rock salt, phosphate, marble, anthracite coal, and natural gas among other resources. Subranges of the Atlas Mountains. The range can be divided into 4 general regions: Tel Atlas, Saharan Atlas, Aures Mountains, Middle Atlas, High Atlas, and Anti-Atlas. Middle Atlas Range. The Middle Atlas is a portion of the Atlas mountain range lying completely in Morocco. The Middle Atlas is the westernmost of 3 Atlas mountains chains that define a large, plateaued basin extending eastward into Algeria. South of the Middle Atlas and separated by the Moulaya and Oumar rivers, the High Atlas stretches for 700 kilometers with a succession of peaks among which 10 reach above 4,000 meters. North of the Middle Atlas and separated by the Spa River, the Rif Mountains are an extension of the Betic Cordillera in the south of Spain. High Atlas. The High Atlas in central Morocco rises in the west at the Atlantic coast and stretches in an eastern direction to the Moroccan-Algerian border. At the Atlantic and to the southwest the range drops abruptly and makes an impressive transition to the coast and the Anti-Atlas range. To the north, in the direction of Marrakech, the range descends less abruptly. On the heights of Ouaṭlas the massif is cut through by the Adrar Valley which opens southward. Here, water runs in some places, forming clear basins. It is mainly inhabited by Berber people, who live in small villages and cultivate the high plains of Ourika Valley. Near Barrage Kavarnak, there is a hydroelectric dam that has created the artificial Lake Lalataka coast. The lake serves also as a source for fish for the local fishermen. The largest villages and towns of the area are Ouaṭlas, Tel and Aures, Amizmiz, Imlil, Tinmal and Ajurkak. Anti-Atlas Ranges. The Anti-Atlas extends from the Atlantic Ocean in the southwest of Morocco toward the northeast to the heights of Ouaṭlas and further east to the city of Tafilalt. In the south it borders the Sahara. The easternmost point of the Anti-Atlas is the Jebel Saro Range and its northern boundary is flanked by sections of the High Atlas Range. It includes the Jebel Sirawa, a massif of volcanic origin with the highest summit of the range at 3,304 m. The Jebel Barni is a much lower range running along the southern side of the Anti-Atlas. Saharan Atlas Range. The Saharan Atlas of Algeria is the eastern portion of the Atlas mountain range. Though not as high as the Grand Atlas, they are far more imposing than the Tel Atlas range that runs to the north of them and closer to the coast. The highest peak in the range is the 2,236 am high Jebel Essa. They mark the northern edge of the Sahara Desert. The mountains see some rainfall and are better suited to agriculture than the plateau region to the north. Today most of the population of the region are Berbers. Tel Atlas Range. The Tel Atlas is a mountain chain over 1,500 kilometers in length, belonging to the Atlas mountain ranges and stretching from Morocco, through Algeria to Tunisia. It parallels the Mediterranean coast. Together with the Saharan Atlas to the south it forms the northernmost of two more or less parallel ranges which gradually approach one another towards the east, merging in eastern Algeria. At the western ends at the Middle Atlas Range in Morocco. The area immediately to the south of this range is the high plateau of the Oats Plains, with lakes in the wet season and salt flats in the dry. Ours Mountain Range. The Ours Mountains of Algeria and Tunisia are the farthest eastern portion of the Atlas mountain range. The Ours natural region is named after the range. See also, Capsian culture, North Africa, references and notes, http www.britannica.com Topic Berber, Waubis Potential Field Modeling of the Atlas Lithosphere, Waubis crustal structure under the Central High Atlas Mountains from Geological and Gravity Data, Piazza, al. 2005, Tectonophysics, 400, 67-84, Des Montagnes du Zaho aux Dunes de Mirzga, Algeria, Ethnic Groups and Languages.